Hello and welcome back to another special edition of VHawks podcast. And it's special because we both won.
Doesn't happen a lot.
Yep. And we had the famous white chick celebration. Cam Bynum's got the boys ready with the great celebrations after interceptions. It's great. Alrighty. Green Bay and Detroit. That was a good game,
Yeah.
I will say. I couldn't decide the whole game who I wanted to win. But in the end I was happy with the result because we get extra breathing room against Green Bay and Detroit. I'm hoping they lose one. They got the Bills, Bears, and the 49ers coming up, so I'm like, hopefully they drop one and then Week 18 be the division. Matt.
Yeah, not much really safe in this game. It was close, but Detroit's still winning games, and I won't kill them as much for this game as we did for the Bears game with that one being close, because Green Bay is at least a good team. So, unlike the Bears, and we'll get to them later. Um,
There you
Tennessee
go. The
versus
next two
Jackson.
games I think can be summed up in just like everybody's waiting for the bye week except Miami, who's just trying their best to get in. But it's December football now.
Yeah, Tennessee lost to Mac Jones. Yeah. And then Aaron Rodgers actually finally hit 300 yards, surprisingly. First time in I don't know how many years. I think it was like 30 something games, was it?
Something like that.
But yeah,
Granted, he didn't play all of last year, but still.
though even before that, there were a certain amount of games at Green Bay, but moving on. But yeah, Jets 14 years is it in a row now, no playoffs.
I think
We'll
it's
get to our
13, but either
games.
way, longest in NFL history.
They haven't been happy in decades, so we'll get to our games at the end. Uh, New Orleans, you won, but at what price you lost? You probably lost Carr for the season, or if not, he's going to be out a little bit of time, and that basically killed your season. You're already in a uphill battle with the Falcons and the Buccaneers for playoff positioning, and now you're basically over. New York's flying, the New Jersey Giants are flying dumpster fire banners over their stadium before the game. Um, yeah, and then anything you want to say before moving on to the Philly game?
I didn't know until Tom Grossi made a video about it or like the fan reactions, but apparently one of the Giants players tipped off an OnlyFans model to flash the Saints players and it distracted the Giants instead.
Have you
So
did you like check this?
yeah, it's online. She apparently was paid by one of her subscribers who was a Giants fan or a player or some shit. You can look it up. Anyway, I didn't even know until Grossi mentioned it, so I was like, really? Was that a thing?
I didn't know if that was an actual
Um,
thing, so I was just going with a dumpster fire banner. But yeah, New York or
yeah,
New
the dumpster
Jersey
fire banner
Giants.
was funny too. It might have been on GPS. Either way, Grossi said it, and I was like, is that real? Car Carolina almost beats Philadelphia. They've been tough out each week, but
Carolina,
Philadelphia keeping
with
that
this
streak
being a
alive.
lost season already, this is the improvement you want to see from Bryce Young. You might not be winning games, which will help you for getting a good draft pick and your other picks in the consecutive rounds, but this is what you were wanting to see this season. You just didn't get it early, and that started the sirens. But Bryce Young has been playing really good as of late, and honestly, they would have won that game if the receiver didn't drop it, or they would have
Yeah,
gone.
he's been amazing.
Speaking of bad quarterback play, like Jalen Hurts, Jameis
Hey, don't
Winston
you talk about bad QB play. Cleve Jameis Winston had a perfect stat line. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That is peak Jameis right there.
wasn't pick sixes though, Tyler. That's the
It
perfect.
doesn't matter. He throws 30 and 30. That's peak Jameis.
Well, no, but if you want God tier Jameis, it's two touchdowns, two INTs for pick sixes. So that's 4 touchdowns. We need God tier Jameis like we had for the Broncos game. But yeah, Pittsburgh lost to Cleveland the other week. Started off slow with this game without George Pickens, but yeah, I Russ has been looking good. This offense, even without Pickens, were able to score 27 points. There was a point, I think it was like 13 to 7 or at some point. And then I'm linking it suddenly like 27 to 7. Um, but yeah, Pittsburgh, good win. You're going to be into a very tough stretch these next few weeks, so we'll see how they play out. Um, Las Vegas, yeah, season's over. Tampa, you got another win. While we'll get back to the Falcons, but they choke.
Yeah.
But anything you want to say about
Nah, that's about it. Yeah.
Buffalo? You wasted a perfect Josh Allen performance. 3 rushing, 3 throwing touchdowns, I believe. Defense just couldn't get anything, and Shannon Sharp doesn't actually watch the games. That's a whole nother conversation. Los Angeles just had the ball to end the game, and that was kind of it. No defense.
There was a guy in my fantasy league who just had Josh Allen, Puka Nakua, um, Jamar Chase, and one other running back who I'm not
Jesus
remembering right
Christ.
now. And everyone else was on IR because he never checks the thing or whatever, right? Or on a bye week. He got 170 points
Jesus Christ.
and knocked somebody out of the playoffs,
Yeah.
like out of their chances.
That would be fuming.
Oh my goodness. Josh Allen had like 51.8 points in fantasy by himself. So, anyway, but yeah, that game was the highest scoring game of the year, and that was fun to watch. But it's sad that Buffalo couldn't pull it out. I'm hoping that makes them even more enraged, so they beat the Lions next week. But we'll have to see about that. San Francisco found themselves again at home.
Or does Chicago just
Um, we'll see if they can keep that alive. Kansas City uses devil magic.
no?
Only they get a doink that goes in. That makes sense. Actually, we did that in London 2 years ago. So
It's also the Chargers just can't beat the Chiefs. That they just seem to be cursed to that. Herbert cannot beat the Chiefs more specifically. And then Cincinnati, I don't know how you kept this game close. You should have destroyed Dallas. And if they did not mess up on the block punt at the end, probably should have lost this game. Um, so just wasting an MVP season from Joe Burrow.
yeah,
Jamar Chase, you owe a very big contract too, and probably lose T. Higgins. So fun times, and your defense still sucks.
yeah. I was, if oh my god, like Dallas was in prime position to win that game too.
Well, because they would have had
But
the ball at like the 40 if the freaking defender didn't touch the ball after the block punt.
yeah,
Like, just let it go. Get out of there.
mm-hmm. I I don't Joe Burrow. The Cincinnati Bengals have to win out, and they need help against either the Broncos or the Chargers, I believe, to be able to make playoffs.
What's the chance they have? Like 5%?
It's something low. Dolphins the same way. So, but the Bengals do play the Broncos, so that game will be heavily important for the
The
Bengals.
amount of trash that we've given the Bengals for not like doing shit this season, if they somehow get in the playoffs and then go off,
All
because
I want them to do is beat the Chiefs.
if you can get this version of Burrow in the playoffs and like fix your defense by like 10%, they could be a dangerous out just because if you get them into a shootout and they get ball last, I got to give it to Joe Burrow and I'd be confident in him scoring unless it's against the
Perfect,
Chargers.
perfect, somewhat realistic playoff outcome. All right. Cincinnati sneaks in, beats Pittsburgh somehow because division weirdness, right? They beat the Chiefs.
Weird story, but okay.
Bills win their games. Bills beat the Bengals. Vikings win their games. 0 and 4 Super Bowl teams playing in the Super Bowl. One of them has to win.
They tie.
Game goes on for 6 hours, and at one point Kevin O'Connell and Sean McDermott just go, "Hey, we're done. Just give us each half the ring, half the trophy. Take a saw, cut it in half."
Russia nukes the stadium.
Oh my God. But I mean, that's not even too far off. Like the Bills are like great chance to make the Super Bowl. The Vikings have a good shot too, whether we're the 1 seed or the 5 seed. Like we got a complete team.
Bad thing
So
is this
it's
Bills
not out of the realm
team,
of possibility.
if we were talking about like regular season, maybe, but like playoff Bills, we've seen them get to the playoffs and absolutely just die.
To the Chiefs.
Well, no, but like we've seen them get destroyed by the Bengals. We've seen them get destroyed by other teams that aren't even the Chiefs.
Right, but see, the Bengals are going to be tired. That's my point. So, like, Buffalo's going to be playing at home every single game, because there'll be the 3 seed, right? And if the Bengals beat the Steelers, then the Bengals will go to the Chiefs, and whatever other team wins will go to Buffalo. Then the Bengals beat the Chiefs. Then Buffalo gets a third home game. Bengals are too tired. Buffalo wins. That's
But
how I'm thinking about
here's the
this.
thing. If it's Ravens versus Bills, we've seen that game play out. And it did not end well for Buffalo.
Yeah, but Ravens defense isn't that good anymore.
Okay,
Not where it
well,
used to be.
let's get to our games and then we can
Yeah.
have this conversation at a different time.
Yep, you can go first. We're trying to keep these short.
Okay, Kyler Murray just sucks recently, I guess. That's 2 games in a row against Kyler Murray that Kobe Bryant has had an interception. He had the pick six in the first game and then interception this game. Um, Arizona got the lead early and then Seattle scored. And then it was just back to back picks from Arizona that were bad picks. And Seattle just stormed ahead and just never looked back. Got close near the end, but it was always just a little bit out of arm's reach for Arizona. Charbonnet had a game, a career game. When I thought Charbonnet could be good, this was what I was looking for. This O line is finally getting reps together now that it's healthy. The guys that had been injured early in the season, or most of them, are finally back. The defensive line is finally healthy and getting reps together. The secondary is coming into form under McDonald's defense. And beginning of the year, my hope with JSN was I just want him to start going into the 2 wide receiver role. Like I'm not expecting him to be in 1. Just to take that role from Tyler Lockett, just so we're not relying too much on Lockett anymore, knowing that he's probably going to be out of the league after this year or probably moved on from. Um, right now, Jason's number 1 wide receiver on this team, and it's not even
I was
close.
about to say, yeah, he took over the 2 a long time ago, and he took over the 1 a few weeks back and has not given it back.
And yeah, DK's had some injuries, so it's also their best corner is always going to be on DK Metcalf, so JSN can just go run around on whoever he wants. Um, it's one of those situations where do you let DK Metcalf beat you down the middle and just ram over your guys, or do you just let JSN take screens 60 yards because he can't catch the guy? It's a lose-lose situation right now, and this team's coming together nicely, but do not let this fool you. At the end of this year, Gino better not get an extension.
I mean, he'll have to play next year. So this year might not be the year that decides it. Might be next year.
But still, don't give him the extension yet. That's all I'm saying. Let's not make any
Beats
presumptions like Dallas did with Dak Prescott, and then Dak Prescott goes and eats shit and then gets injured.
beats the Packers in the regular season, then hosts them in the playoffs and beats them again. Loses to whichever team they face. Gino gets a 3-year extension.
Okay, since you're doing that, I'm going to ruin your day now. Reportedly, they are not looking at offering Sam Darnold anything.
That's not ruining my day.
Okay, well, whatever.
That actually makes me happy because here's what you should do. If I'm the Vikings, moving on to my game now, because you were done, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Unless you got something to say about Arizona or whatever.
Okay. Um, so I actually would prefer the Vikings to not talk to Sam Darnold until the playoffs begin or until they're over, because we need to know exactly what Sam Darnold's capable of. Right now, we're at above 99% chance to make the playoffs. If we lose out and the Rams win out, that is the only way we don't make the playoffs.
That's
Assuming the
hilarious.
Packers win a couple games and like the Commanders or no, the Rams would be that team. Yeah. Rams and Commanders win some games. Anyway, there's basically virtually no chance we don't make it. We just have to win one more game and we're in. So, or the Rams have to lose one. But anyway,
We'll do that for you. Don't worry.
Sam Darnold, Sam Darnold needs to, we need to wait to talk to him until after the offseason or until the playoffs are over, because if we get bounced in the wild card, then I think you move on because again, like with this offense, and especially with how Brian Flores has this defense playing, we need to be able to have some playoff success because this team is starting to fire on all cylinders. Sam Darnold's gone 4 games with no picks. He's increasingly got better each and every week. He's been clutch on last minute drives. We didn't need one this game, but was like a career day for him. 347 yards, 5 touchdowns, 22 of 28. Jordan Addison being the wide receiver one in this game because the whole freaking defense went with Justin Jefferson in the first 3 quarters. Um, and he got 8 for 133 and 3 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson for 7, 132 and 2 touchdowns. And that's actually, with all our great receivers the Vikings have had in their history, talking about Randy Moss and Chris Carter primarily, that's the first game in Vikings history that 2 wide receivers have had 100 yards and at least 2 touchdowns each in a game. So very surprising when you think about it. TJ Hawkinson, not super involved, but whenever he got a catch, it was for a first down. Josh Oliver, a big 26-yard catch. Aaron Jones didn't turn the ball over this whole game. No turnovers for us. Aaron Jones got himself a rushing touchdown, 73 yards on 13 carries, so 5.6 a carry, pretty good. Um, just looking at the offense, like this was the best game offensively I think we've played since the Texans, and honestly, it beats the Texans one. Um, Josh Metellus with an interception early to get us back in the game. That was key. And then Byron Murphy with the second interception. That one hand was sweet. And then obviously the Bynum coordinating the White Chick celebration that we saw at the beginning of the PowerPoint. Uh, look up some Viking celebrations if y'all have time because Cam Bynum is orchestrating the best celebrations, and even ESPN is like celebration of the year question mark after that game. So um it's all going well. And then even we had a 2022 draft class sighting because we only have 2 players left from that class and they're both mid-round picks. Brian Asamoah on special teams punched out that football on the Ray McLeod return, and CJ Ham goes and picks it up. So we actually got to see someone from that draft class that was a historic failure. But oh man, like the team is gelling together, and it is great to see what everybody's doing. Um, and this is what the standard should be for our offense. And if our defense can hold teams to 21 or less with our offense doing this, we are a force to be reckoned with. The question is, can the offense keep showing up? But yeah, this was probably the most fun game I've watched for the Vikings since the Texans game, and a big reason of that is because we didn't have to have a fourth game like nail biter or fourth quarter nail biter. It was like, okay, I can breathe a little bit. We have a 2 score lead. Oh, we have a 3 score lead. Okay, there's still that 1% chance in me that's like we're gonna find a way to blow this game. But it's still nice because you get to wait until it gets closer, and it never did. So we got to have the nice feeling. which Vikings fans apparently get twice a year. Um, but yeah, overall, very excited for what
Just
this
not
team
going to
can
talk
do.
about Kirk Cousins sucking.
Oh yeah, we won the QB revenge game, which normally doesn't happen. So this is indeed a new Vikings era. We have eliminated the Zimmerness that was here. Um, because Zimmer would lose the revenge games and lose to all the backup quarterbacks. So this is definitely different. Um, Kirk Cousins, I'm glad we didn't allow his first touchdown in like 4 weeks or whatever. I'm glad he continued his bad streak against us because normally we give up so much. But I wish him the best, honestly, like with his health, but because he looks bad on that Achilles. When like he got rattled, you could tell. I don't know if you watched any part of the game.
He did not look comfortable at all, and it's time to move
No,
on
he
to the next.
no,
He's
the
not
thing
healthy.
was is he was dicing our defense for the first two drives. It wasn't until we hit him and then sacked him that he just was rattled the rest of the game. Like first two drives, I think he had 100 plus yards. Algier had a touchdown, Bijan Robinson got a touchdown, and then after that, it was just like every now and then he'd have a deep shot that connected because our blitz didn't hit home. Um, but he just did not look the same after our first hit on him. So
It's one of those things that you can't just like hope and pray that, oh, if our quarterback doesn't get hit once, he's going to be good all game. He's going to get hit
yeah.
at some point, and if that's what's enough to rattle him, he needs to sit because I don't think he was ever 100% healthy because even at the beginning of the year, he did not look great. He's had some good games, but if you look at the body of work this year, he has I believe, the most picks in the NFL. His touchdowns aren't that great to even like
Mhm.
balance that off. He just hasn't looked healthy. He hasn't looked confident. It's a new system. I get it, but I think it's one of those things where put Penix in for the rest of the year, get him some experience, and then going into next year with a whole off season for Kirk Cousins to get into the system and get healthy, use next year as your leaping off point.
Yeah. And it just sucks for the Falcons too because Bijan Robinson had a complete game. And what I mean by that is like he was doing great in both the rushing and receiving game, but he picked up blitzes very well. I was flabbergasted that some of our linebackers got stopped by Bijan Robinson in pass coverage or in pass protection. And to have that game kind of just go off the rails because the quarterback turns it over and can't move the ball downfield other than on splash plays and busted coverage. It was just crazy. Oh, and we can't not mention the D Alford random ghost tackle in the corner of the end zone where Jefferson's just like wide open and he just flops over there. I don't know what he saw, but maybe that's the seeing ghosts leaving Sam Darnold and going into D Alford. So
Sam Darnold has learned to or take the ghosts and now unleash them on others where they see ghosts.
exactly. Yep, that's it. That's the point. Mm-hmm. I agree.
Also, with Bijan being around, he's 6 foot or about 6 feet, 220 pounds. That's a decent sized running back, so I'm not too surprised. But
Oh no, I'm not saying it was like he picked up basically every blitz that we had. And usually when we play the Falcons, when they're doing a big pass play, Algier is in. But also our run defense just does not stop Algier, which is why I was confused. They chose to run it twice with Bijan and then try to pass it when they were at the goal line. Because I'm like, literally just run it with Algier like you did the first time. You'll get in first try. It
I don't know.
We just suck against Algier. And he's a bigger bodied running back. So it was interesting to me see Bijan do that well in pass protection because he didn't do that last year when we played him. So I guess that's the point I was trying to draw.
That's fair. Well, that'll be all for this episode. We'll be back with our power rankings and then our predictions for week 15, and we'll be moving on. Great week. Got some dubs. Sadly, the division keeps winning, but oh well. Off
What's
to
that? It's
hopefully
a
the
dub.
wild
Eat
card.
that dub.
What?
I was doing the Jameis Winston.
Oh
What's that?
yeah.
It's a dub. Eat that dub. Um But yeah. Anyway, yep. Stay tuned for our later videos. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks. Skull.